Greetings. David McKnight here from the Science of Getting Hired and Notion Path. Wanted to jump on here this weekend and talk about a topic that has been coming up quite a bit as I'm working with professionals. I think, important mindset for all of us to understand. And this is really, I think, important for all of us, every professional and executive, whether you're currently in research or not, because this is going to impact every single one of us. So some of you, and hopefully maybe many of you, I think I've talked about this a few times even in this group, about this idea of a business of one and beginning to think of yourself as a business of one. I think it's absolutely maybe the most important mindset or thought process that you need to get your arms around, and that it's going to have a truly impactful meaning in every single professional and executive's career moving forward. It's a little hard sometimes to process and think about, but I think it's something that's really critical that we do. So let's start off maybe making sure that I'm clear about what do I mean by a business of or a business of one. So what I mean is stop thinking like of yourself as an employee. All right, stop thinking of yourself as that it's about getting a paycheck from the man or from somebody else. It's really beginning to take ownership of your own self and your own skills. The best way maybe to think about that is to start thinking of yourself as a consultant. Really, you have an expertise, a set of services, knowledge and information and skills and qualifications that you're bringing to the marketplace. And for many of us, and it will continue, that it'll be an employer, a company that's going to provide us the paycheck. But what's I think is important is to begin to process the fact that you're really a consultant offering those services to that uh, company or organization, or potentially maybe multiple customers that are interested in buying those services. So it's really like thinking about yourself as the CEO of your own business. And that's a big responsibility. Now, fortunately, you don't have to manage a bunch of people, but who knows, maybe that comes into it down the road if you want to be a manager. And your one of your goals is to manage and lead people, then all of a sudden now you are a CEO of a little smaller group. But begin to think of it yourself as you are now in charge of your own business. And so why does it matter? I mean, why should you care about this? Well, a big reason is that employers cannot, and many actually even today won't commit to you on a long-term basis. There are just way too many variables in play in today's business world that it's just very difficult for an employer anymore to promise and make a commitment to anybody on a long-term basis. Things just change just too rapidly, and many employers already are making those changes and not making commitments to employees. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue. And what are those factors that really are sort of outside their control, or what's driving this? Well, the economy, obviously, is a big factor. We just went through one of the worst recessions ever in our country's history, and it's impacted, just, I think, pretty much all of us in some way. Well, if there's anything we can say about recessions, is they come and they go. And I'm hearing a lot of people talk about that another recession will return somewhere between 2020 and 2021. So are you ready? My fingers are crossed that recession isn't as bad as the last one. But nonetheless, no recession's good, and it generally means there's going to be fewer jobs and fewer opportunities, and wages are flat. And so the question is, are you ready for that? And now is the time to be getting ready for that when things are moving in a good direction. So other factors, government obviously has a huge impact on businesses today and still do. Laws can come up that an organization doesn't anticipate today. A lot of factors there are outside of the control of a business that could impact their ability to stay in a specific market or provide a specific product or service. Mistakes that employees or management make. We're seeing that happen time and time again. And just terrible things, sexual discrimination or racial discrimination, or just stupid things that executives and employees are making that truly can impact an organization's ability to be successful. And so there's just a lot of things that really could derail an otherwise very successful organization that they don't see today. And so the bottom line is just there just are no guarantees. We just can't, the employer of the past simply cannot give us the guarantees. And we're already started to see this happening right now too, is that, and I guess a lot of the thinking is that by 2020, 40% of all jobs will be contractors. Think about that. 40% of all jobs will be independent contractors. And so this is going to be forced upon many of us. And that we're going to have to start thinking ourselves as an independent contractor. And that means that you're going to, every 6 months, every year, you're going to have to re-earn that position and or be prepared to find another position because the company's taking a different direction, or they no longer need that specific skill set that you have. They want to they need other skill sets. So it's really going to be critical for you to find a way to take this your process of finding new jobs and do it on a more progressive process. And it might happen to you every year, every 2 or 3 years. It's not always going to be just a choice thing. It's something we're just going to have to be able to figure out how to do. I know it's pretty scary for many of us, but if you think about it, prior to the Industrial Revolution and the rise of factories and corporations, pretty much everybody back then were independent contractors. You either had a trade or a skill, or you owned your own business, but most people were independent contractors. They weren't being paid by a company. And so the thought process is all changing back to go into that. And maybe in the next 20 years, we'll be back to 80% of people no longer are getting a committed position from a company, that we're all independent contractors. So what are the key factors that help you sort of prepare for this? Well, it starts off with a mindset. And I think hopefully you're breathing this in today, and you're beginning to realize that this is something really important, that you get why it's happening. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way things are happening. And the sooner we can begin to process that and prepare ourselves for that, and there are lots of things that we can do to be ready. So it's not the end of the world here. There's plenty of things we can be doing to get ready. And it starts off with branding. Really beginning to position yourself as that specialist, as an expert at whatever it is that you do, and begin to build your reputation. And so things like social media, be careful with that. That stuff's out there always around us. So it's a reflection of who we are. And there's going to be this intertwining of your personal and your professional lives. And it's really important that you own your reputation in any way that you're doing it, whether you're at a networking event or whether you're online or wherever you're at. You can constantly need to be aware that you're being judged, and you want to make sure you're being judged in the way that helps protect your career, your livelihood. Also, this whole idea of work-life balance, and I still find myself doing this too. So it's a bit of a concept that we need to jump forward to, is switching from the term of work-life balance to a blending of work and life. Now, that does not mean that, forget the family and the spouse, that you're going to be working 20 hours a day now. And that's not what we're talking about. Really, what we're just talking about is that that your work and your personal life is going to be a melting of the two. And it's back to that reputation, that branding, and is you are carrying your persona into your personal life as well as into your professional life. And so absolutely, it's important for us to have family time and time with the spouses, our loved ones, and our friends. Nobody can be, in my opinion, nobody can be a really good, solid professional without that ability to unwind. But what is important, it realizes that work and life are not two separate things anymore. It really needs to be blended together, and it's something that you need to be constantly able to sort of process how those things work for you. Here's another really important thing, and this is really sort of maybe helps us to get it. So I think a lot of people get hung up with this business of one, thinking that now they have to be the best in the world or whatever it is. And amen to any of you that are out there trying and striving for that. So I'm not going to say don't do that. Just go for it. Try to be the best you can, and if possible, be the best in the world. But being the best in the world is not necessarily what you have to do to be successful here. What you really have to commit to, though, is just being better today than you were yesterday. So it's that incremental progression and improvement. And so what's really important is that you can wake up today and say, what am I going to do to better myself today than I was yesterday? And it can be just small things, 15 minutes of training, 15 minutes of investing in yourself. Um, some of us, it might be an hour, but do something that you're constantly improving your professional life, your your passion, your whatever it is that you're an expert at, and it's something that you're continuously making progression to. And so I think that's something that I think all of us really can commit to. Like I said, committing to being the best in the world. Wow, that seems pretty lofty. For those of you that are striving for that, awesome. But the rest of us, and I know my personal goal is simply trying to be better than I was yesterday. And that's something I can process and get my hands around. So one quick one here, a Notion path. It's really this whole idea of being a business of one is baked into the 10 steps that we use to go through of helping a professional or an executive get hired. Um, it really starts off with that foundation. We use Ayurveda as a wellness practice to help professionals get that competitive edge. And really, especially executives, senior executives, C-level executives, you're going up against some pretty sharp people. You need all the help you can in order to gain that confidence. And it really starts with your well-being, your mindset, your mindfulness, and finding that competitive edge. Then it is about that being a business of one, owning your career, finding the clarity, the focus on the roles you want or need on the path that you want to put yourself. The branding that's baked into being that specialist, conveying your message, your reputation. Resumes that actually get read. If you remember, most recruiters only spend about 6 seconds on a resume. So my question is your resume going to get their attention within 6 seconds so that they want to continue reading? Cover letters. Here, the cover letters are dead. Long live the cover letter. But what I mean, different kinds of cover letters. We're talking about compelling letters, compelling messages. And it could take a letter form, it could take an email, it could take a LinkedIn in mail, whatever you deliver it, but it's a compelling message to separate yourself or get a hiring manager's attention. LinkedIn profiles that are discoverable. This is your best opportunity to market yourself to the world. And if you're ignoring LinkedIn and not paying attention to it, you're losing a great opportunity to have something working for you 24/7. And how many of us don't want something helping us 24/7? Your network, and by building a network, I don't mean going to every cocktail party you can. If you want to do that, great. But I'm really talking about connecting with influencers and building relationships with real relationships with professionals that you need to be knowing. Search methods. So we've talked a lot about the job boards are broken, and most job search processes are broken. And so we teach about going around those job boards and reaching the hidden job market. And of course, we're going to finish with it being interview ready. And the goal here is to stand out, to build a rapport and a relationships with the people that you're interviewing with, not just show up to regurgitate how wonderful you are. I mean, you're going to do some of that, obviously. You need to get that message across. But you're also, what's important about the interview is you're bonding and creating a relationships with the people you talk to. So that's our approach. Hopefully today's message was helpful. You absolutely need to pay attention to being a business of one. If you haven't processed what that means yet, continue doing some research. Reach out to me. I'm more than happy to get on a call for some time to talk through that, what that means for you and how you can do that. To me, it's one of the most important mindsets that you can get in today's world, today's career world. And whether you're, say, like I said, looking for work now or one day you will be, it's time to begin processing that and preparing yourself. So hopefully you found that helpful. I hope you all have a great weekend. And again, feel free to reach out to me if I can be of help. Thank you.